Hey, what's up, permaculture people? This is Teddy Matson with Seed of Life Permaculture Design and Landscaping. I'm here at a project where the goal was to clean up the property, as in cut down all unwanted vegetation or overgrown vegetation to try to reestablish or find property lines. And then I suggested to use all that biomass somehow back into the landscape. So what happened was all the grass and woody weeds, perennial weeds, goldenrod and such like this, on the perimeter was scythed down to discover property pins and sort of align them. And then all the trees and shrubs, including these giant roses that I showed last time, were cut down and piled up, and everything that was chippable in the time allotted thus far was chipped, and all the useful bits that could be salvaged from all the plants are here. So we have a lot of long poles from some maples and oaks that came down, and some other twisty branches, more twisty branches, some of which came from old Christmas trees, some from the roses. And the idea is to use this kind of stuff in perhaps making sort of rustic natural fences along the borders. Over there under those birches is one property line, and then over back here is another one. So all of these roses and small brush has proven to be chippable and worth chipping to get it out of the way time-wise. Lots of injuries and such from that, but that's okay. I wore gloves and they still got me. But yeah, so this apple tree had a bunch of dead branches from the roses, so those came down. So it's looking a lot nicer. And then there's still some understory little roses that need to be sized back before they get any ideas about getting big. But yeah, all this can be chipped and winnowed through to find cool pieces. Like there's a lot of cool wood in here that can be used for creative fencing or other, garden craft. But yeah, one of those fences is going to go right here, right in front of this line in the goldenrod that I made. And then over along here on the other side will be another one. All these apples are pretty good. Oh yeah, this was the raised bed that was attached to the railroad ties, so I salvaged all this pressure treated wood. And yeah, back here, this other line of flowering herbaceous perennials will be another fence here. So this humongous pile will make tons of nice, weird, interesting, twisty, but still pretty strong rose wood to do that kind of stuff with. And everything that just seems nasty and useless will get chipped. And then there's all this woody biomass too. Might just want to stay here because the soil underneath it's pretty dry and crumbly and likely to erode. But this is obviously a new cleared area. Those roses are certainly going to come back, but they will be pruned to be shapely and under control. So the voids can be filled by something else. We have these 3 little apple trees here. And I think, actually this one's a pear, I think. But yeah, another fruit tree or 2 back here I think could work. Or bushes, understory fruiting, blueberry bushes or something. Maybe blueberries and roses like a similar type of soil. I'll look it up. But down here, this is beyond the border, apparently. It's more like, should be like right there. But yeah, this is a little weird wet slope. So time for a site improvement sort of approach down here. And then there's talk of using stones to make some terrace walkway, flat areas to plant. So that's what's going on. I guess basically what I really wanted to get at in this video is talking about chipping and collecting all that biomass. So here is what's left over from going into the compost bin. All the herbaceous perennial weed plants, and then soil that came out of the hugel bed that was made under this compost system. That soil was layered with this stuff in this, so it's already shrunk. This was just filled, overflowing 2 days ago, so it's gone down 6 or 8 inches already. So there's that, and then this is all the chips that remained from all the wood that was chippable, other than what went into the hugel bed itself. So, and then this area is where chips and food scraps will be combined to start a new batch of compost. And by the time that's full, both piles can be flipped, and then they can be flipped back at the same time. So obviously this one starts a lot earlier than this, but this one should be hotter because it's going to be food scraps. This is kind of like built-in greens and browns. It's green, brown, and dirt. So, probably make more of a landscape compost for trees. And this will be more of a home compost because it comes from food that is already, food scraps, goes back into making more food plants. So, there you have it. This is the old compost, which I suggested could become a vermicompost thing. So you could put a tote in there so that they have a little extra insulation or cover when it's not freezing out, and then bring them inside. They can be houseworms over the winter and make worm juice castings or worm tea, whatever you want to call it, and really good seedling starter mix. So there you go. I'll upload another one if and when, or whatever, when more happens. I guess I should talk about these are kind of little sticks attached to the chicken wire that you can roll down as the doors for these bins. And these are just poles that came from something in the landscape, and they're just kind of making less of a gap between the roof and the door. So the roof is just like the doors, a stick nailed to chicken wire that can roll down to uncover which bin, so you can go from either direction. So if you want to get to the middle one, you kind of got to go all the way, or 2/3 of the way either way. But anyways, I'll be on my way.